Our presentation is on gender discrimination. I'm Taylor.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Jackie. So our main ideas for our presentation are traditional gender roles between males and females, developmental characteristics between boys and girls, and school performance between boys and girls. Traditional gender roles for males and females in colonial times were females were generally, they stayed home, took care of the kids, cooked and cleaned, and men were the breadwinners. They went out and worked, and in that sense, men were usually almost always the teachers, and women stayed home to take care of the kids if they weren't in school. As there was westward expansion of our country, women were brought into the workforce to be teachers, but they weren't necessarily seen as teachers. They were more seen as child care providers, and that led to nowadays many females being teachers over men. In modern times now, men and women are pretty equal in that either can stay home with the kids and either work, and women are in high paid professions and so are men. In terms of modern gender expression, nowadays it's more on a spectrum than either boy or girl. There's a lot of in-between area. A male can be more feminine and the female can be more masculine, rather than just having the sex be male and you are masculine, and sex is only the biological part of you. And with that, toys and clothing really emanates that girls wear pink, boys wear blue, girls play with Barbies, boys play with Legos. And it's really not like that anymore. They play with boys' toys, and boys play with girls' toys, and boys can wear pink and girls can wear blue, and it's okay, because modern gender expression is on a spectrum, and it's the biological part doesn't really matter that much anymore.
As for developmental characteristics, girls' brains tend to develop faster than boys' brains, and girls that are infants begin to start speaking earlier than males do. And because of this, girls tend to develop their verbal fluency at a higher rate than boys do, because they've been speaking for a lot longer. And also in schools, girls tend to be better at verbal tests and language fluency, whereas boys tend to be better at mathematical reasoning, spatial ability, and mechanical ability, which are harder to measure at these young ages, whereas girls are ready to read as soon as they hit the classroom. Also, boys don't get that interest in reading right off the bat because they see how well the girls are reading and they feel that they are lagging behind. And they are not given material that they are necessarily really excited about to get them excited about reading. So they are falling further and further behind in literacy throughout early childhood and elementary school. Boys are also further behind girls in school readiness because girls are taught to sit quietly and pay attention to the teacher and respect the teacher, whereas boys are more disrupting of class because they need to be able to move around more. They are more physical. They are the kinesthetic learners that need to be hands-on, touching things, doing things, moving around. Whereas girls are more so able to sit still and pay attention and do the lessons that are more traditional in school. Because of this trend of boys disrupting the class and moving around, the boys are diagnosed more often as having ADHD, emotional behavior disorders, and also learning disabilities, because the girls are able to sit down and control themselves more, whereas boys can tend to be more emotional at this age and are more hyperactive.
In terms of school performance, males typically excel in math and science classes, whereas women seem to do better in social studies and language arts-based classes. As far as standardized testing goes, males seem to outperform females. And schools that rely heavily on such tests frequently use the results to steer young women into careers that are traditional for their sex, with lower earning power and fewer opportunities for upward mobility. This pattern persists within every ethnic and racial group. These tests don't accurately predict student achievement because women typically score lower than men on the SATs, but consistently outperform men in these same courses in college in all these subject areas. With lower test scores, women thus receive fewer scholarships and merit awards for college, vocational schools, and the armed forces. Statistically, they only receive about 40% of scholarships. Following high school, males are typically encouraged into going into vocational training or the workforce. Women, conversely, are encouraged into going to four-year universities. Given the fact that they receive fewer scholarships and fewer merit awards, this puts them at a disadvantage. Surprisingly, there are more women in universities and more female graduates than men. Statistically, 60% of college graduates are female.
In conclusion, we understand that boys and girls are different biologically, even though we also understand that gender expression is on a spectrum and it can be fluid from masculine to feminine. As teachers, we need to address these biological and expressional differences, and we need to be able to teach to the different genders, but not support one over another. As we looked at, the boys generally have a more rambunctious nature, so they need to be able to move around the classroom more, they need to be able to have hands-on activities. So we need to include these more so during our normal everyday activities in order to get them excited about learning and support them throughout their educational career. Supporting the strengths of students is super important. If a girl has strengths in spatial abilities or mathematical abilities, we need to help her and push her into those math fields that she will be great at and will love to support her career around, instead of saying that she is a female and that those are not traditional female roles for her as a teacher. Alright. Conversely, if a boy is really into language or wants to be a teacher, even though it is a female-dominated profession, we need to support their strengths and help them get into those career paths. This also brings into multiple intelligences, and we need to make sure that each of those is supported, even though females are more verbally minded and males typically are more mathematical or spatial in their strengths. As Angela Dalho, the SPED teacher, says, fair isn't equal, it's what you need to succeed. So we need to understand that there are differences, but we can take those differences in children and use them as our strengths and help these children become the best adults that they can be.
This one goes out to teachers. Teachers and students. It's time to get our learn on. And we got lots to learn too. I don't know it all, but I know a few things. Science. You hear? You take up space, you matter. It's just science, man. Don't be a bully. Don't even be a bully to the bullies. It just makes more bullies. We can all be awful sometimes. We can all also be awesome. It's time to be more awesome. And that's what it's time for. History. We got to study it so we don't repeat it. Well, if history does repeat itself, now I'm going to name our pet dinosaur Reginald. I just hope he doesn't get me. We can't just study history. We got to make history. And history is made by ordinary people. Ordinary people like you and me. And that guy. The world's greatest thinkers. Confucius, Albert Einstein, Justin Timberlake. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like me. I put my pants on one leg at a time while dancing. You can go by. Yeah. You're gonna be in the video though. Life is school, so you gotta show up. You can't just sleep in. You can't be late. And you can't just hang out in the bathroom and laugh girl. It's like what Whitman said. Yeah, well, except he didn't say that, but you would know that if you would read a book, baby. Seriously, read a book, any book except the vampire ones. You want to change the world? You gotta know about it. What if Shakespeare didn't go to school? His plays would be even more confusing. Too big or not too big? Is that the question? I don't know what question is. I didn't go to school. Anybody? Help me out here. I got a question for you. What are you teaching the world? How to be bored? How to make the world sad? No! No, you're not. You're teaching the world what it looks like to be awesome. No matter who you are, somebody's learning from you. Everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student. Look for the awesome. Teachers see things. They see when you're running down the hall. They see when you're passing notes. But they also see the person that we can all become someday. A writer or a speaker or Martin Luther King. Teachers, keep teaching. Students, keep studiting. That's not a word. Sorry about that. It's the teachers that see the awesome. The homework is this. What do you want to teach the world? Do it. Let's make some history together. Because it's simple math. Together, we're better. Those girls are a little too loud. If that teacher inspires you, let them know. This is for teachers everywhere. So share it with them. We gotta make the world awesome. Somebody's learning from you. I'm out. Get to learn all. We're making history. I'm gone.
Alright, teachers, we gotta see the awesome in our students. Don't teach to their genders, teach to their abilities. Teach to their awesome.